Hey, we're back. dSIPRouter. Tyler, how are you?
I'm doing great, doing great. How about yourself?
Good, man. I am excited.
I'm
A
loving the
couple.
enthusiasm.
Well, I'm excited for a couple of reasons. Like, um, like it seems like I just got off the phone with a potential customer in Brazil, and it seems in Brazil, for those who are listening, I don't know what's happening in Brazil, but there seems to be a lot of interest in dSIPRouter in Brazil. And so I don't know what's happening in the local market there, but anybody who knows like what's happening in Brazil, like chime in and let us know. Like send us a note. Like you can send we should have like an email alias for this show, right? But we actually, you know what? We will
we'll put
create
that
one.
we'll put that in the
Decent
show notes
router.
afterwards.
Yeah, yeah. It'll be Decent Router Weekly at theopensource.com. And I think that I don't know what's going on, but there seems to be a lot of excitement there. And then secondly, and you can talk about why you're excited this week, because I'm totally excited, is that me and you met yesterday, and then we realized, at least you helped me realize that there's these things that I kind of call what do I usually call them? Like they're paper cuts that people have
Mhm.
been running into for dSIPRouter for a long time that I think we just haven't focused on because we've been adding all these new features. But I think you helped me yesterday to realize that we need to fix these paper cuts, and those paper cuts are, things around like the UI, like being able to do a delete all for everything that we for
We've
carrier
been
groups.
listening to you guys. We're doing a lot of customer discovery, figuring out what are the biggest issues, and trying to like filter it down to a subset to focus on. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And so that's the thing. Me and Tyler's been talking through it. So anyway, that's why I'm excited and rejuvenated. What about you? You may not have the same level of excitement, but I don't know. What are you excited for right now from a dSIPRouter or just in general?
Well, there's always something exciting going on in VoIP world. I mean, recently it's been mostly like maintenance sessions. What I'm excited for is we got a new QA engineer, and she's gonna come on. She's gonna be helping us out with the quality assurance process, and we kind of got our workflow almost the way almost the way we want it. So that's been pretty exciting, actually. I know it sounds like super mundane, but it's nice to have that support and have somebody else like reviewing and going through that process, so we don't have to do that 5 times over ourselves. It's just time consuming, and we I really am excited for that.
Yeah, man. And then the next part of that, and hopefully we'll get somebody who can do the AWS images because that and automate that process. And maybe that's when we don't have, PRs to get reviewed and added into it. Maybe she can help with that process because just automating that process. Because it's, for those who don't know, the AWS marketplace process, that's the process to get images in AWS. It is not a walk in the park. I mean, they've got better now. They have like APIs that actually help you do a lot more of this, but it's
But that's
still
all
not.
recent too,
It's
So
super recent.
when we started doing it, it was all manual.
Yeah. So I know you're excited for that because I mean I know you got it down now, but this it's still like one of those things that you have to go back and think about and do, right? So it's one of those
So you
things
still
that
gotta
just
like manually create the instance, build an image, create an instance from the image, make sure everything checks out on that. So there's that whole testing process. If anything fails throughout there, you have to go back to the start. It's not like you get a PR, it's reviewed, it gets merged, and then the image is built. Nope, nope. And then after all that review, it gets submitted, gets scanned. There's a whole lot of like small like hiccups in there, that can just kind of halt it. Which is
yeah,
it can be a
for
pain. It can be a pain, that's for sure.
Yeah, I for sure. No, it's it's trust me, it's not. It's like watching paint dry. It's not exciting. It's not really that exciting, but
Mhm.
it's negative. But I do see, like, I looked at the numbers, like the revenue numbers, and we are like building up again for our Amazon images. So we're not where we want to be, but it is still is building. And what it makes me feel like is that, because it's sometimes it's the easiest way for people like to get a get their first introduction into dSIPRouter, like without having to do a lot of work. I think that
Mhm.
we've obviously did a great job on the install process, but it still takes 12 minutes to install. It's automated.
Yeah.
Where at AWS, you go there, click a button, and then within a minute, you have an image and it's all working. You know what I mean? So, um,
Yeah. We don't have like a anything built into packaging yet. So I mean the project the quickest way is just an image from a totally configured system. And like I said, it just takes a lot of time to keep this maintained. We'd love to do the packaging. I know you would love to do that as well. We've also explored doing like a UI and Go, and looked at a few other ways to integrate it. Maybe like with their pip, with their PyPy repository, but it takes time. It takes a lot of time to get everything formatted that way and explore the different options. Don't really want to jump like right into let's say the Debian repos, and then later down the line be like, oh wait, maybe it would have been easier going with PyPy, or maybe this component is just going to be in PyPy, and then the API is now going to be written in Rust, or whatever it is. So
yeah,
we want to think about that instead of like jumping right in to a specific ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean, you're a bigger grown up than I am. For me, I am just excited. I just want to get out of the package. Like me and you were talking yesterday. I just want to get out of the managing, pip, and not really managing, but just dealing with the upstream packages. Whereas, we're expecting certain things to work a certain way, but then here comes a release, and then things stop working. So that's um that's really what I want to get rid of, or reduce. And I think you brought up a good point. It's like we'll still have the same issue with Go, but it'll be one of those situations where we won't have it at runtime. We'll have it at design time or develop time. Um, but I don't
Mhm.
know. Anyway it goes, I'm just always at awe when people talk to us about um this project and how excited they are, because people really are wanting to leverage Camilio, but it's like really hard to do. And we kind of made it super simple for them to do it. So I always get inspired when I hear people say that, they've been trying to learn Camilio for a while. Now they can actually use it, and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of cool. But here goes the question. The question is, and we talked about this, how many people want to see dSIPRouter on OpenSIPs? That's the question. So again,
Okay.
if you, yeah,
Good
if
question.
it's a good question. So again, we'll put in the notes. Send us the email. Send us something. Join our Slack. You can get all the information from dSIPRouter.org, and tell us if you want to see like dSIPRouter on OpenSIPs. Because I just recently people have been asking. They haven't been saying we really want it. They've been like, I don't know, maybe people do. They'll say like here, I'll read you a message. And it's like I don't know if this is saying they really want it or what. So I'm gonna read you the message. Maybe they're saying I don't know. I think it means that he really wants it. But let's go see where this message is. If I can find it. Yeah, I met him at ClueCon, and he sent me a note. Come on, you can do it, Mac. We can find
While you're
him.
finding that,
Yeah.
my biggest question for people asking for like a big feature, or if there's not if there's a few people asking for it, usually my first question is, what's the benefit of it? So what's the benefit of having OpenSIP support as well as Camillio support? If there's valid use cases, like it drives business and it just makes sense. If it's like a one-off thing that we could still figure a workaround for, I'm not convinced at that point. So yeah, I'd love to hear the message.
Well, he says a whole bunch of stuff about my talk at ClueCon. And then he says, I really hope that you start supporting OpenSIPs in dSIPRouter at some point. So that little snippet, does that mean that maybe the answer is, maybe the question or the response is, why do you want OpenSIPs? So let's go ask that question. I'll respond to him. Why? So I'm gonna say, hey, why do you want OpenSIPs support? Let's see, I can spell OpenSIPs support. Is something missing from Camillio that you really want? So we'll see what he says around that, because you bring up a very good point. Like they're so similar. Like why would you want one over the other? Now, I am falling in love with the event system in OpenSIPs. So I've been playing with that a little bit. So they have a whole event subsystem built into it. So almost everything is an event. And so if you want to like integrate like a pub sub model, like some RabbitMQ, Kafka, whatever, you can basically set it up so that these events are sent automatically. You just have to subscribe to the event. You have to subscribe to the OpenSIPs event, and then from there it will pass that event over to RabbitMQ. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think one of the detriments of the TM module is it doesn't really have in scripting language, doesn't really have the event hooks. It does have like on reply, on failure. So it's more of on like specific types of requests, but it doesn't have events like within that logic. Like for example, sending something on your VLAG and having that not affect your whole transaction state is a big thing. It's not very easy with TM. So I'd be interested to see if OpenSIPs had like better ways of dealing with that in their transaction management.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to check, but like I think a lot of energy wasn't focused on that in the proxy world, because it's just, it's supposed to be a pass through. The legs should be like, unlike, a back-to-back user agent, the whole concept of having a leg A and a leg B is pretty important. And
that's kind of the world, just for some background, that's kind of the world that our product is stepping into. We're kind of building on that and handling the session as an SBC, basically. As we build the platform, it's trending more towards session handling, being very stateful, but being able to do all the extra features. So not like stateless bare bones proxy.
Yeah, that's always like the challenge, is like staying true to the roots of Camillio, but also providing these higher level services where you need more, state management in regards to dialogues and understanding, the direction of a call, and having a leg A, a leg B. That's the tough thing, because sometimes I'm just like, man, for some of these things, like even like for our Microsoft Teams module, for example, there needs to be work done there in order to support, call transfers, and it's really tough to do it inside of Camilio because of its nature of being a proxy. So
Hmm.
that's always one of those things where, I'm always thinking like, should we force Camilio into doing that, or should we be somehow bringing along a true back-to-back user agent, with if needed, like having it so that it spins up like a free switch server if it needs something like that, or what do we do about that? So there's no like small or compact B2B server instance that we can add to Camilio that I know of that works well. And that's really, to me, is what we
Hmm.
really, really need.
Yeah, RCP Engine helps with that role. We got the media
Mhm.
proxying there, and you can do some media translation there as well. So, and it's super fast. So, I don't know. I
That's
think the more interesting part to me actually is that
Mhm.
you can support the non-RFC compliant and do all your crazy business logic. It, the point I was trying to make was basically if you're not doing anything stateful, you're not doing like the interesting application stuff, right? You're basically just doing the how can I route things as fast as possible to where I want if you're being stateless, right?
Yeah, I think that's the interesting thing. Is like, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to like, I think sometimes we're trying to make sure that we're staying in our box, but sometimes I think it's hard to, because I think customers want more functionality at the proxy level, um, than what we were kind of thinking in the beginning. So,
Yeah,
um,
it's definitely evolving towards an SBC. If we were going to do something that is focused on being super fast, as stateless as possible, doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but it's basically just your load balancer or, bare bones proxy, it'd probably be another project at this point. That's just not the direction it's been going.
right, right. Um, yeah, it's been pretty crazy. But I think what we talked about yesterday is just making things easier inside the dSIP router is one of the things that we're really focusing on, and for this upcoming release is just really making things super simple for people to be able to use. Um, because we get
Getting
it.
rid
I
of
mean,
those standing
yeah,
down the sharp edge, you know?
yeah, I like that. Standing
Yeah.
down the
Trimming,
sharp edges.
trimming the corners of the paper so there's no more paper
Yeah,
cut.
yeah, yes, that's what we're doing. Because I think that, if we look at how people start using our product, they download the open source project and they use it for a while, and then they start thinking about doing some HA, or they have a use case or something like that. But I do think we want to, and this is where I appreciate you bringing this up. I do think we need to, make sure their experience is excellent, with the basic stuff. Because if you're not doing like the basic stuff well, it makes people think that you won't do the more sophisticated use cases well. So I
Mm,
want to
okay.
at least get to the point where people are like, yes, the UI, I interact with it, which people interact with it without a problem now, but like some little things around, deleting all the actual carrier. And in the beginning, the funny thing about it though, I thought about adding the ability to delete all the carriers, but I was like, no, that's a security risk, because somebody like me would go and click all of them and hit delete, and then it'll delete all the carriers. That was the whole, I remember that whole thing. But you know, I think customers really want the ability to remove them all. And right now, when we install dSIPRouter, it installs all these default carriers. Like people go through, and have you seen this? That people go through and they delete all the carriers and then they put
Yep.
theirs on. You know what I mean? So So yeah, I
And just
think
for
this.
some background for everybody who hasn't spun up before or is
Yeah.
wondering why, we basically, when we started, some of our open source funding was sponsorships. So, some of the carriers would sponsor the projects, for a certain amount of time, and then we put them in the defaults list. They get a little bit more views, and they'd have like default config already on there. So I don't really like the defaults kind of setup. I would rather it start like fresh and then have, we talked about this before too, like carriers that want to have a little bit tighter integration and want to work with us, you could just make a plugin that goes to their API, and that's all the nice bells and whistles. We did some of that for Twilio, and that one worked out pretty well. On the inbound routes, you can have all your DIDs pulled right in.
Yeah, I think we need to do more. I think at the very least we probably need to have something that allows them to install. Like I think one of the things we talked about is like really cutting down on carriers like that are in the deal and really just having the carrier that want to work with us be in that list. And then on top of that, maybe having it so that it doesn't install the defaults. It doesn't install the default carriers. It just comes fresh. And because
But when you
I
make it
know
a
for
first
people who
class experience, and I don't think the default is, to your point, I don't think that's like first class experience.
yeah, I think that I think first, so that part you about like the sponsorships is true. I think the other part was that we wanted to give people a way to start, like who didn't know how to set up carriers. We wanted to make it easier so that, because we don't get this as much because people be like, well, I don't know how to set up the IPs so that I'll be able to accept traffic from all these sources, all these carriers. So we just try to
Mm-hmm.
make it easier for them. But I think now, it's a matter of more than just making it easier, but um, making it so that for a couple of different areas. Like one, if you're doing DevOps and you're installing dSIPRouter, you don't want to have all these default carriers in it because automatically dSIPRouter will make those carriers. They'll basically add an ACL, right? That automatically allows traffic from these carriers.
Yep.
So, like for some people, this is a big issue. So, I think having the ability to do an install without any carriers and you put your carriers in, that makes sense. And by the way, they can all do this via an API call, so they can do an install automated, and then from there they could call the API to add carriers to the carrier list that they want. So there's ways of doing it.
Yeah, the sitter score is one thing that we looked at before. Weren't sure the best way to kind of like put that in there as just authentication and not routing as well. Like a decent way to manage that and show it in the UI. So it's probably something we're going to come back to. But yeah, like you were saying earlier, we love looking at the big new fancy features, but making sure the features we currently have are really really tightened up, really easy to use. People don't don't hate using them or don't have like things that they get caught up on in their workflow. I think that's more important.
Yeah, I mean, people should be able to like start, install the product within 12 minutes, and then set up an endpoint, set up the carriers, and then start being able to see calls going through. Within, basically, I see within 30 minutes, at tops, you should be able to like see calls going in and out. That's what we want to see.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting there. I think we're evolving and figuring that all out. Where's the next place we're gonna go? We need to figure out the next place we're going. We went to QCon. Where's the next conference? Should we go to AstraCon? I don't know.
I think I don't know if we
AstraCon is 2025.
I think we're looking
Yeah,
at next year for most of the telephony stuff. They just had
yeah,
Laracon. That's more dev.
yeah.
DigiCon.
AstraCon is in February. Let's see. There's a call for papers. Yeah. So call for speakers are until October 15th. So I don't know. I think we want to go. We can go there. You know, it says communications share talks on AI, of course, SMS, security, E91, they're shaking. So maybe
We
we
put the
should go.
UI around Asterisk at one point. UI and API for the real-time integration. Maybe that's something we could open source. I don't know. I don't think it's ready for prime time yet, but yeah, it's maybe something we could show up there.
Yeah,
A lot of options.
maybe the talk is around like how the leverage stir shaking, like using like if you have multiple ASIC servers, how do you have a centralized stir shaking? And maybe that's where we talk about how to use Asterisk and dSIPRouter in that case. You know, we could talk about and maybe we bring in our partners of Transnexus and we do a do a talk on that one too. So I don't know. There's so many ways we can do, but we definitely should think about it. The conference is February 11th through the 13th in Fort Lauderdale. So and it's alongside the IT Expo, which is a big conference. So, you know, maybe we should go, Tyler.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should definitely go, even if we're not.
Presenter.
We can put, yeah, even if we're not presenting, but we should put something together for that. We could even show off. We have the real-time integration with domains. You have to look back at that feature again and make sure we can make a demo on that. It's been a while since I looked at it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we yeah, because we really don't like we really don't integrate. We don't really have a lot of integration directly with Asterix per se. This is with FreePBX for the most part, but
Real-time integration was directly with Asterisk though. Didn't do anything with like the AMI manager, but that was one of the things I was looking into at the time, which was really interesting. You know, they have the Asterisk manager interface, kind of like a REST API and stuff rolled up. But you can manage a lot of things there, and you can basically hook your application into Asterisk. So I don't know, that'd be kind of cool. And you could do like test calling with that. You could do all different types. Anything that you could do in dial phone, basically, you can do that.
It is. I'm gonna put something on our calendar to actually it's due October 15th. So maybe we'll do it next week. We'll just talk through. Yeah, we'll talk through. Let's see, we'll do it like we'll block a little bit of time here. I'll put it on our calendars. That way we can just chat about it and figure out what we want to do. Because we haven't been to AstraCon. I haven't been to AstraCon in a long time. I haven't been in a long time. I don't think you've ever been to AstraCon, have you?
Nope, newbie. Yeah, I'd love to check it out. You know, we've been in the scene for a while, just I haven't been to the conference yet.
No, so we should do that. I'll put it on our calendars right now because I think that will. I think hearing from what people are doing in that community as well will be interesting. I am going to put it on our calendars for like 10:30, right before this call, right before our next weekly. And look at that, we're getting work done while we're on our stream. I love it. Let's see, meet about AstraCon. So y'all, everybody, we may be going to AstraCon, which I'm super excited about. because
Love to see you all there.
yeah,
I gotta make it familiar world this next year because didn't get to make
yes.
it.
Yeah, you gotta do. I think we need to do Camillio World, and I think we need to go see what's going on in the Open Sips World because I think they're in Italy. I think, or they be doing theirs in Italy or whatever. I think we need to go there. So I think we need to travel around and just see what's happening in the community. So let's go. So we're running up against our 30 minutes. Will we try and do it? Pretty sweet, pretty good. So what we already talked about what we're happy about, but anything you want to share about Tyler that you're working on or anything in the next week that's interesting you want people to look at, what says you?
Yeah, what says me? So we're focusing on polishing things this week. Like we said, I was going to add on to this video, but we're already running up on a time limit. Some demos of the new features in V7.6 that some people, I think it would be really good to give an intro to everybody on that in video format because it's really easy to consume. And, you see the pretty lights and all this stuff, the UI working. So I'm going to put that together and get that out later this week. So if I remember, I'll come back to the show notes and add that link as well.
That's what's up. So I want to, I don't know, this week I want to, I don't know, I have a lot of stuff that I'm thinking about, but probably the biggest thing I'm going to do this week is try and figure out some topic that we haven't hit before. Like I haven't did a dSIPRouter install video in a long time. So maybe I'll do another install video and just walk through what does it take to install dSIPRouter? Because we haven't did that. All the videos has been like new features, things that's happening. But I think like going back and I guess getting back to basics, what me and Tyler have been talking about is like, let's show people how to actually install it. And
there's a lot of new install options since then. So.
Yeah, there's a bunch of flags.
I don't think command page is the greatest, that we had an intern do it, but so I think it's good to go back to that. We can update the documentation as we go. As you go through that same process, like, the documentation is missing.
Yeah, so probably this week we'll see a video from me around this doing the installing and how to install it. And also there's a new series, a new course that we have called it is actually installing, I forget the title, but it's basically using DevOps to install dSIPRouter. So that course is I'm working on that now. There's a pre-order of that course available. Let me see if I can just pull it up real quickly. I'll put it in the notes here. But that course is going to kind of show you how to install dSIPRouter, leveraging DevOps tooling. A lot of the DevOps tooling that I use is Jenkins based, but I'm also going to show other ways of doing the install as well.
Like Terraform.
Say what?
It's like Terraform.
Yeah.
Other tooling.
Yeah. And so anyway, I'll find the link. I'll put it up there. But definitely, if you're interested in that, buy that course. It'll show you how to install a dSIPRouter from a DevOps perspective. So kind of automating the installation process. That's it, man. So thank y'all for joining us. This has been another dSIP Weekly. We'll be back next week. Everyone have a great week.
Yep, signing off. See you guys.